Let's see. Think we are live right now. What is going on, boy? Kevin Yee. And I'm actually really liking this like 48-hour deletion type of live stream. Technically, I unlisted the same. It's not keeping things up forever. Um, and it's kind of crazy. Like when I first saw this type of concept, more recently, I've been thinking about the Buddhism principle of impermanence and how we're just on this planet for a short amount of time, and if something's truly important to us, we'll make the time to do it. Um, and yeah, I've just been really enjoying it as well. I noticed like the content that I bookmark and I'm like, yo, I'll save it for later. I never really get to it ever in my life. So it just adds some urgency, like some relatable urgency and stuff. And as I'm going through what I'm going through right now, it just really, I don't know, it just makes me appreciate things a lot more as well. Anyways, today's stream, I just want to catch up with y'all and kind of like tell you what's been going on my end. I've been working on a few videos. I accidentally sent a news blast to my email list for over the last like 8 days and stuff. I decided not to fix it, but yeah, it's been a great opportunity to just connect with y'all, and it's been super cool. So if you go refugeehustle.com/join, you can check it out. Not plug. Everything's in the links below, so you can check that out later. But yeah, but I've been actually, so what's been going on my end is I've been kind of deep diving into the personal development space, trying to get over my breakups and dating traumas and all that sort of stuff, all the emotional stuff I've been putting off forever. I came to the realization that my drug of choice is like workahol. I love working so much, and a lot of time, like ever since I can remember, I always kind of fought off these feelings of like pain, negativity through work, you know? If anybody knows me in my personal life, they can probably vouch for me. I never drank, I never did drugs, I never did any of that other stuff. But my number one thing is, other than women and stuff, is work. Especially after, God, when was my last like official relationship? Maybe back in like pharmacy school, my first year and whatnot, or my first year of pharmacy school. I think that was my last like official relationship. And I believe after that period of my life, I just started running from like my feelings and stuff, and just was working all the time. And one of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel was because, and my blog was because it distracted me from everything. I always told myself like, if I don't have like, I guess if I don't have a girl or anything like that, or like putting my energy into women and dating isn't really worth it, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, I'm left with nothing. And it was just a really at the time I thought it was a super healthy way to kind of cope with everything as well. But in my 30s, what's really interesting is that it catches up with you. You can't run away from your demons forever. And it was only through like the recent breakups that I've really had, which really forced me to focus on back onto myself, back onto my mental health, back onto these emotions of loneliness, not feeling good enough 24/7, where it's really kind of affected my entrepreneurial journey of me feeling like I can't ascend, right? That value of not being good enough and whatnot. And I've actually taken an extended time of dumping my clients and just focusing on myself. Some people are taking a little longer to get onboarded and whatnot, but I've been really using this time to focus back on myself and like start reading, something that I always loved doing back in the day. And I actually linked 3 books in the description below. One, I'll go into them in order as well. And if you guys have been following my Instagram, I've been posting some of these books too. The first one I've been reading is The Universe Has Your Back. This one has been really good for my mental state, honestly. sometimes I just feel so alone all the time on this entrepreneurial journey. And I'm just like, man, I don't feel like I'm ready for a next chapter of my life where, you know, I lost my relationships and I lost so many things. And I'm just like, man, what's next for me? What do I really want to do? I really love doing this YouTube thing. I really love coaching people. Especially love coaching entrepreneurs how to sell their offers and stuff. Those are some things I enjoy, but there's a pit in my stomach where I just don't feel ready for the next part of my journey. For so long I've been selling other people's like offers and consulting people and whatnot, but to really take the next step and helping other people develop their offers, and something I really love is content marketing and diving into YouTube full time. That's kind of like what I really want to do. I've been thinking about. And some of the things I really took away from this book too is like, you're always guided, and it dives into spirituality and whatnot. I was never a very spiritual person, by the way, if you guys are watching this, but over the last few months, I've been having to dive into spirituality because there's only so much you can do by yourself, and it gets super, super stressful. And it's funny, as I used to think it was like really woo-woo shit, but until I started reading this next book, which I'm going to talk about in a second, Rickson Gracie, and some of the top level entrepreneurs, right? If you read their bio, they're always pulled by something higher than them. And I just found that really, really interesting. And it really started opening up my mind. And plus, if you watch some of my more recent videos, you've probably been watching some of the talks that me and Dr. Eugene Choi have a lot. And basically, we like that's one of the things about neurohacking and stuff too, is like finding yourself in that flow state where you lose sense of time, your body, your environment, all these key things. And it was just really, really enforced by this book. So I highly recommend that you read it. And it's not like one of these like super woo-woo books, right? It's like pretty entry level of getting into it. I would say like if you read Power of Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza, any of those books, those are more, I would say, advanced books for people. Like this is a pretty easy version as well. And it talks about having faith and just really, really knowing that you're always guided. And I've never really talked about this on my channel, but I guess I'll share this with you guys right now too. And so most of you guys know, but my father passed away about 3 years ago. And I've just been feeling, ever since that time, I felt like, I'm going to talk about this in my next video, by the way, but something that really bothered me was that, like, at the end of his life, I really spent a lot of time like investing in our relationship. I put in time, effort, all this into our bond. And if you know Asian parents, like a lot of them, they don't necessarily, I don't know, what's the word? I guess they don't necessarily like, they're stubborn as hell, right? They're super, super stubborn. I never thought my dad would change. But I put in all this work, and my dad and we never had a very close relationship. So basically the long story short is, I went up to him. I was like, I know we never got along. I want a better relationship with you. And we basically worked on it, and we actually had a really great relationship near the end of his life. But that's the thing. I didn't know he was going to pass away so quick. And then as soon as we had the relationship I wanted, like he was just taken away. And I felt so frustrated at the time. I never told my former partner this, but it probably was not fair to her that I felt upset. I felt angry. I felt like I was so wronged at the time. And I was like, why would I put in all this effort into a relationship when people love me, they leave me as well? And that was a very difficult part like of my life that I don't really talk about too much. And especially after that moment, I just avoided so many relationships after that. And I felt like my dad left me. And if maybe some of you guys watching this, you guys might be younger, you guys might not understand, but especially if you go into business or any entrepreneurial endeavor, you're limited by a lot of your self-beliefs. When you're launching a new product, your confidence, your ability to convey conviction, all these come down to our childhood beliefs, our limiting beliefs. And I felt like my dad left me, but deep down, I I don't know, I feel like I've been guided. I'm not saying necessarily by my dad ever since he passed away, but I feel like I'm not necessarily alone, and I feel like a lot of things I'm going through for a reason. And that's what this book kind of taught me, was like that we're always guided. No matter how alone we feel, we're always guided, and that things happen because they're testing us. And let's say if all this is, you're super hardcore atheist and you don't believe in anything, or you're not spiritual at all, fine. Regardless, right? It's still by believing in a higher power or something beyond yourself unlocks flow state. And that's something that most people can relate to as well. So I've been really into meditation and all that as well. But yeah, that's kind of like, this book was impactful. Also reading No More Mr. Nice Guy last week really helped me a lot. Just kind of refocus myself with all the women, all the relationship stuff, like everything, finding my core. And I think that's why I'm in the position I'm in. Probably it's doing okay. It's not like doing super well, but it's also very intentional because I've been spending like not that much time onto it. But I think being 33, and the fortune teller, like a long time ago, I'm not sure if I ever told you guys this. My mom sent me to a fucking fortune teller when I was in Hong Kong, like long time ago. I never believed them, but they said that this year would be one of my hardest years. And damn, I definitely feel it for sure. And yeah. Red Pill says, salute Kevin. Appreciate you taking your time a couple of months ago on live stream about PAMD route. I'm glad I'm not pursuing farm. Hope you remember me, brother. No problem, brother. Yeah, one of the things I've been actually doing too is like a lot of the emails I've been getting, I've been actually responding via video too. So if you guys sent me a video email, if you guys sent me an email over the last week or two, I'm just getting to them now and responding back to y'all. But yeah, so that was that kind of book, man. And then one of the other books I've been reading too was Breathe by Rickson Gracie. If you guys know, I like train 10 Planet, and this guy is the complete opposite. He's a Gracie, but it was so interesting because across the board, everybody will say like, yo, Rickson Gracie, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's one of the greatest of all time. And I never really knew his story. And listening to his story about how he was able to conquer, and this is the masculine energy, right? So the stuff I've been talking about is more of the feminine energy, like emotions, restorative, but this one's like going out and kind of kicking ass, but also a very spiritual, like how to be a better person and overcome adversity. If you don't know, there's one part of this book that's on Jocko podcast as well. He talks about how his son was murdered and how he dealt with like trying to find the good in something so horrific as well. Imagine like, dude, it really, instead of like at the time, like if you guys don't know, Pride was happening. He had I think almost was going to get paid $5 million to fight Sakuraba, the Gracie hunter. But his son was murdered, unfortunately, during that time. And he decided, no, I'm not going to like take the fight. My family needs me. I need to feel out these emotions rather than put on the mask that everything's okay when everything's not okay. And it was through the silence where he kind of took a step back and he really focused on himself and shit. And he realized that, he basically realized that he never valued time with his family. He always took it for granted. And if it wasn't for the silence, he wouldn't be able to appreciate it. So he changed the way he lived all the time. And he's very into breath work and living a life of flow. So that's what I love about Rickson Gracie. I was not a big fan of, I didn't know that much about Rickson, but definitely now seeing that he was at the top of his game. He was one of the best jiu-jitsu artists out there, and his son Kron is killing it. Is really really interesting. So yeah, there's that book. And then, by the way, if you guys are watching this, make sure to drop a like. I would really appreciate it. I can't believe I've been going on 15 minutes just talking about books and stuff. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to shoot a question here as well. This time is really just to chop it up. But since there's only a few of y'all here, I just wanted to kind of talk things out with you guys and all that as well. So there's that. And then I've been reading this book. I actually just picked this book up. Like, I picked this book up back in 2011, and it's so crazy. Like, this is when I was going through my first breakup, and I never read it. And it's like that syndrome, which I talk about, Sundoku syndrome. I can't remember what it's called. Japanese syndrome where you just collect books. But I luckily found this book, and I started reading it, and I was like, damn, this is me. This is me. This is like the hurt, the pain, emotional pain I'm going through every single day. And it just has not been really easy with me emotionally. So literally just going through it. I just picked it up maybe 15 minutes ago. I'm already on page 36. So I'm going to keep on trucking through it as well. It's a pretty good book so far, and it really focuses on like, hey, how to work through your emotions so that you can be happier in the future. How can you focus back onto yourself? And that's one thing I've kind of lost over these last few months is like, I want to say it's like depression. Honestly, it's like a different drive, by the way. It's like I just haven't had the same intensity with my life or working that I've had like in the past when I was like my early 25s, early 20s, late 20s. And it's like I feel like I'm wandering, I'm lost. I'm like trying to figure out what the fuck do I want to do, sort of. Right? Like I have a good idea, I have the themes, things like that, but really prioritizing how do I live like a really happy life while running my business and all that, because right now it just feels like, especially without the relationship part right now, it just feels like, okay, I'm working toward all this, things are going well, so now what, right? Now what do you want to do, or how do you want to feel? And I know like how I want to feel. Like I want to just feel happy and just love what I do, and I get to do that like right now in this moment. I get to do jujitsu every single day, like twice a day. I get to meditate, and I also get to do this YouTube thing that I really love and coach one of my students. I actually helped my student get his first opportunity, and I'm hiring him on for one of my clients too. So those things are really, really great. I want to coach more and stuff. But before taking on this extra work, I just want to be absolutely sure about what makes me happy and identifying those things. And I think like a little bit too, like as I'm talking, is like I just really, really miss my friends. Never in my life have I felt so freaking alone. Like I used to have people where, yeah, I call them and stuff and it feels good. And maybe that's what I was looking for in a relationship too, to fill that void. But especially being in Vegas, it's been a lot more painful. Like a lot. I've been meeting people here and there, and they're really cool. But I just feel sometimes that I just in the moments like I see my friends back in California. They're just like, hey, what you guys got going on? And they're like, I'm going this event, and here I am in Vegas in Sin City. It's like, what are you looking for? I'm gonna just do shit by myself, and it's like the most. I don't want to say the most depressing feeling, but that's just how I've been feeling more recently. Is it my fault for not blocking time out and figuring stuff out to do? Probably. I've been wanting to kind of shoot a video toward like something like Asian Hustle Network and just connecting with people in the area. But again, like when I'm going through like massive grief right now with the relationship stuff, I can't, like a big piece of me is just like, I want to be with people, but I don't have the energy to like really facilitate new relationships, because I've been in a lot of friendships and they always take effort and work, and that's super necessary. And it takes, I don't want to say it takes energy, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer in front of people as well. Like when I'm not feeling 100%, I'm not feeling 100%. And that's just how I feel right now as well. So there's that. Rohan asked, do I use auto dialer? I don't really use a power dialer for my clients and stuff. For most, I mean, we have like online programs and stuff where we call people like just through our computer, but I don't use like a power dialer or anything like that for the most part. It's I mean, I don't like doing outbound. I think like honestly, like if we're talking about business for a second, like in terms of outbound calling and cold calling, some people really love it. For me, I've always been a content marketing guy, or like some sort of, I mean, one of my friends is doing this right now. She's like, she has an agency, and she's just sending free content to just boost out there. And that's been really helping her agency so far. And yeah, like that, like I'm not a big fan of like calling people out of the blue. I think it's very interruptive, and I don't think it's always like the best way to secure leads and sales and all that as well. I'm not a fan. Like I'm more open to like email blasts or even text messaging, but calling people out of the blue, to me, as a person who kind of grew up with technology, I think it's very disruptive, and I never pick up calls that I don't really talk to. So yeah, that's just me. Maybe it's a limiting belief, but maybe that's also why I'm not in outbound sales. Like I don't really care about that. So there's that. Yeah, but anyways, like I'll stick on for a few more minutes. I know I've been rambling for the last like 20 something minutes, but I guess there's something like pretty therapeutic about just doing these streams and knowing that they're going down, or like they're gonna be unlisted. So technically, if you bookmark this, you're gonna have access to it. But the good thing about this is like I never feel pressure to like create like really dope live streams. Like we've had like last week, our live stream was pretty lit. We had a lot of people. We went on for like an hour 30 or something like that. That was really cool. But like this week, it's a lot slower. I don't know if people are just out and about enjoying life and stuff. Who knows? But I don't feel pressure to keep on a live show, especially if I'm not like feeling it. Shooting curated content, like meaning like shooting a YouTube video where everything's like cut the right way and all that, and I don't know. It's just a different vibe, and that's different. But like shooting live, like honestly, yeah. And I don't know, like too, like maybe the fact is like I feel like I'm getting older, and when I think about my pharmacy school days, those were some of the happiest times I had. Even the like first like year or two of pharmacy, like when I was a pharmacist, I was pretty content. I was like living the life. I had like really great friends. I was living in the JK house, and maybe like a part of me feels like I miss some of that adventure, the sense of adventure that I used to have. And I guess like I wish I had someone to kind of spend that with too. But I know deep down inside, right, the most important relationship to have is with yourself. As I'm going through this and thinking about everything, like I don't think I'm ready for a relationship, and I definitely need more time to kind of continue journaling, continue like sitting in my feelings, meditating, showing up for myself, going on a weekly date with myself too. Like these are all very, very important things that a lot of people like don't talk about or stress about. And I'm just like I'm kind of going through that process at the moment right now. Owain Lloyd Davies says, what is this all about? This is my live stream where I just chop it up with y'all to update y'all with what I'm up to this week too. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat too. So anyways, we're coming up at 25 minutes. I'm probably going to just like honestly read this book, fill out some stuff for Closing Academy and start wrapping that course up so I can release it to the masses and then go from there. But yeah, appreciate y'all that have stuck through this 25 minutes of just me talking out my emotions. Actually, it makes me feel a lot better thinking about all this. But yeah, it's been a long time since I just like talked to a camera and just kind of vented about like how I've been really feeling. And the truth is, like, I'm not feeling all that great recently, and I think it's okay to feel that way sometimes. But yeah. Anyways, guys, love y'all. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.